Board with Friends, episode 25. Organ Attack. Ugh.
I mean, I'm not allowed to tell that story because Zach wants us to stay on topic.
Stay on topic.
All right, well, we got a little off topic.
Again, 40%. I'm lazy and I'm a mooch. That's what I do.
This is not that kind of podcast.
Welcome to Board with Friends, the podcast about hobby gaming and learning what conjunctivitis is. I'm Zach Dyer, and on today's episode, I am joined by Vanessa Dyer. She's back!
Woohoo!
I don't like that fake woohoo.
That was a genuine. Woohoo.
Was it genuine?
Well, yeah.
You haven't been on in a while.
Well, it's a fake woohoo because I feel like you're making a bigger deal of it.
Well, I get at least one email a year asking you to be on. So.
Well,
and
that's
usually
flattering.
I get better responses from the episodes later on, at least.
All right, well, here we are.
I like those better. All right. Plus, it's more fun to talk to you because you're in the room with me.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I like that. Anyway, we recently got to go to TotalCon, which was really fun. We got to experience our first convention together, and we're going to tell you about it and some of the games that we played there. Right?
Right?
Right.
Sure.
All right. So we only got to go for one day, which was a little disappointing, but it was kind of a new experience for us. So that's kind of why we only chose to go one day, just in case, you know.
And I wasn't like a full day either. It was kind of more of an afternoon.
Yeah, we got a late start. But once we got there, it was actually pretty cool. I felt the staff for the convention was, great. They were accommodating. They helped us. Their internet connection was pretty awful.
Yep.
But, other than that, they were, nice. They gave us good directions and everything.
They were. It's very intimidating going to a convention that you've never been to before where everyone else seems to know exactly where they're going. And some people definitely were like, oh, those two are lost. I will help you now. And then with other people, we kind of had to be like, hi, we're lost. Can you help me now?
Yeah, when we went up to the game library, I just kind of had to politely ask the gentleman, okay, can you give me an explanation of how this works? And,
right, just
he was
a rundown.
Nice, so
yeah.
he recognized immediately that we were new to the game, so to speak. So he gave us a list of games that we could choose from, and naturally, when you hand me a list of 50, 60 games, whatever it was, I had a hard time choosing.
Yeah.
And other people were very nice. They came up to us and asked if we wanted to game with them. Unfortunately, they asked if we wanted to play Munchkin, and I just really wasn't in the mood to play that. But I really appreciated that they came up and asked. That was nice of them.
Yeah, and they also, I felt, were trying to explain sort of the unspoken rules. So they said, if you want to get other people to play with you, you can just start yelling up and down the aisles here that, hey, you're looking for more people. You can just hold it over your head while you're walking. If you have it propped up at your table, that means that you're looking for people to join. So there were these sort of little signals, I guess.
Yeah, the etiquette about it was it was hard to get used to, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
It was definitely geared more towards an extroverted nature, which is not usually us.
Yeah.
But, we propped up our box and, to see if anyone would come over. We did try to chase one guy down because he was asking for someone to play a game, and we tried to get his attention, but
he had already found another
He found
group.
somebody almost immediately.
That's the other thing, is you gotta, jump on it right away.
Oh, yeah.
If you see someone playing something that you're interested in, there's no hemming and hawing over it, which is kind of the position we were in. It was very overwhelming because there were so many options. You could play with other people. There were tables that had games scheduled that you could jump in on. Some people had brought their own games. You could borrow from the library. You could try and get people to join you playing games. So there's a lot of game playing options.
Yeah, and they had sections that were dedicated, like, okay, over here is the miniature games. Over here is the board games. Over here is the role-playing games. They had different rooms for different stuff. And there were vendors there, too, who were showing off their products. So you could sit down and learn a new game that might be coming out, which was kind of cool. And then outside the hall were those, someone had some confections, like...
they were cupcakes.
And all this
we didn't try them, but they smelled and looked really good.
So I was surprised at that. But it was nice. The hotel was nice. We didn't stay at the hotel, but the staff there was friendly. bathrooms could have been nicer, but at least the men's room. I don't know how yours was.
The women's bathroom was fine. I mean, it was just normal public women's bathroom.
I'm not going to blame the hotel for this. I mean, when you got a couple hundred people, going in and out within an hour, it definitely needed to be kept up with. But hey, what do you know? It's a convention, so I wasn't surprised by that.
I also enjoyed all the conversations I overheard. There were people talking about, a Firefly reboot at one point, and then I walked by other people and they were talking about different characters from different shows. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah, I had a good time. We ended up playing games, going to the library and picking out the games for ourselves, which is neat because, they just give you this list of games, like I said, and then they take your license as collateral so that you won't walk off with their game, I guess.
And then also they have a photo ID of you so they could locate you with their game.
And then, so the first game we ended up picking out was Isle of Skye, which I had never played before. I decided if we're going to pick games, we should pick games that we have never played. And this one was like Carcassonne on steroids.
Yeah,
I guess you could call it. It was just, it had a lot going on, but it had the tile laying aspect, and I really dug it. It had some hidden these player stands to block, how much money you want. You drew tiles, and you get to determine how much those tiles would cost, and then your opponents could buy them if they wanted to, but they didn't know how much you were going to charge for them, which was interesting, I felt.
Yeah.
And
then whatever one they didn't, you would toss one, and whatever one they didn't buy, you would have to pay for with the money that you assigned to it.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of a bluffing aspect about it. Like, okay, I really want this one, but I want to set the market high. I want to make sure that I get enough money for this one, but they may buy this one instead, and then I'm screwed because it's, I'm going to get paid, charge more money, or lose money out on it. But it was fun. I don't remember who won that game.
I think you did. I think you won both games.
Oh, yes, I did.
It was not my greatest afternoon.
No, it wasn't. It was mine because I never beat you at games.
But both games were pretty close, though.
Yes,
let's just make that clear.
Yes. But I liked Isle of Skye. I don't know if it's one I would try to own, but I would play it again. I feel like it was fun, but it wasn't anything spectacular. Like, it didn't stand out to me.
Yeah, I feel the same way, and like you said, it sort of has similar aspects to some other games that we play. So I don't feel like we have anything missing that game could fill. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yeah. I mean, we haven't played Carcassonne in a while, but I don't feel like we have it. Like, and this wasn't Carcassonne. Like, let's make that clear. It wasn't Carcassonne just with extra stuff in it.
There were a lot more levels.
There was tile laying, and there was, special abilities, and there was, the bidding aspect, and all this other stuff. Like, there was a lot of things going on to make it interesting. Just not enough interesting, I felt. Maybe with more players, because we did only just play the two of us on that one. But I don't know. It just didn't stand out enough to make me want it, but I did like it. So if we play with anyone who already owns it, I would definitely play it again. Or if we go to a convention again, I guess we could play it again. The second game that we played, I really liked. This was Orleans from Tasty Minstrel Games. And this game, I don't even know how to describe it. Basically, you could just do so many different things. You have to, it's a bag building game. So you have actions of different characters who can perform different functions on this board, and you place them out and you do functions which get you more characters, and you put them in the bag, and then you draw them out of the bag, and then you have more abilities that you can do as rounds go on and on and on. And everything that you do scores points. And, you don't always pay attention to what the other player is doing because you don't really mess with each other in the game, I felt.
Right.
But
you might try and keep an eye on, we're about to run out of that character or something.
Yes, there was that aspect. Like the scholars. Oh, Sam says hi. And the scholars, I felt were something that you didn't pay attention to at first, and I kept going for.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden,
that's probably why you won.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden you realize that, I was moving up on this track, and then you were paying attention to other tracks, and but there was just so much stuff to do in it.
It's
I
one
really
of the
liked it.
most intensely detailed games that we've played.
Yeah, definitely. I was still setting it up when you had come back from the car to get our drinks and stuff.
Yeah. Yes, and I would actually kind of almost compare it to Shadows over Camelot a little bit, in that there were so many different components to pay attention to.
Okay, yeah, I can see
you know
that.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see it.
Like you have the Holy in Shadows, you have the Holy Grail, right? So that's one thing, and then the battle in the middle of the board,
Picks and the and then the Black Knight challenge and
then
all
the
that
beach
stuff. Yeah,
and the So there are so many parts that you kind of have to pay attention to, which just makes. I mean, I'm saying intense. It's not like high anxiety or anything. It's just a lot going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of paths to victory, so
Yes.
And I imagine with more players, it might become more constricted, but at the same time, it was really interesting that I was doing my own thing and you were doing your own thing, and then all of a sudden we didn't really cross paths because there isn't anything like that except for on the roads, because there's a map in the game where you can send your people, you can travel around the world basically and pick up resources. And you went at that really early in it, where you were moving around, you were picking up lots of resources, and I kind of ignored that aspect at first, which was.
It's interesting what you sort of immediately caught onto as, this has value, this is going to get me the most points, this is how I interpret how I win the game, just by hearing the rules, right? So we've never played this game before, and like you said, there are many paths to victory. So you had definitely the scholar approach that you were like, I need to work along this. One of the first things I thought was, I need resources. I need to have lots of resources. That must be how I win the game, is if I have lots of resources. So that's why I focused on that part so early in the game.
Oh, yeah. And then the other thing is, if you can't do anything, there was the other board where you could take meeples that you didn't need anymore. Kind of like
we barely did that too.
Yeah, we barely did it, but it's kind of like in a deck building game when you don't need the lower value cards anymore, you can discard them. So if I didn't need certain meeples anymore that did certain things, I could put them into that board, and then I would get extra points for it, extra money, extra whatever. And then as you fill up those sections, you got even more points. So everything you did, led towards points, basically.
Yeah. And just going through the rule book felt very intimidating because there were so many parts to it. And there were, we definitely had to look things up because something happens each day, right? What was that?
Yeah, there's
daybreak or something.
There was a stack of tiles, and this was determine the length of the game. And each time you turned over the tile, it would have a new icon on it that would determine what happened in the rules, if something changed or not.
So we were constantly referencing the rules anyways.
But I think that's something that if you played the game a lot, you would start to recognize the iconography.
Right. And we even did, because was the plague or something, there was something where we had to discard.
Oh, yeah, when you had to reach into your bag and you actually had to get rid of one of your characters.
Yeah, so I think we recognized it the second time it came about because it had made such an impact the first time it had come out.
Yeah, it kills off one of your people. Yeah. And if you reach into the bag and you don't pull out one of your starting meeples, then they're dead and you lose that meeple. If it's one of your starting meeples, congratulations, you didn't lose anything that turn. So we're always hoping that it was one of those that would get pulled out.
Yeah.
But I really liked it. It had a lot of bits and pieces and stuff like that, like
fiddly
all those, lots of fiddly bits, yes. All the chits for the different resources and stuff like that just add up for points in the end. And then, just everything was points, and it was really fun, like trying to come up with the best combination of things to do, and how I could earn more points. Like you could get these citizens tiles that didn't really do anything except there were points at the end. They multiplied based on how many cities you had built, I believe. On the map.
Oh no, where you were in the scholar track.
Oh, where you were in the scholar track.
By.
They multiplied that way, and it was insane because I recognized, like, okay, I need a lot of these guys, and I need to move up the scholar track, so I get more points for them and everything. And then you realized that's why I was moving on from the scholar track. And then you actually went further than me on the track too.
Yes, I did.
Even though I had gotten there first, but I managed to take all the citizen styles. I think that's why I won, really.
Yeah.
So next time you will probably beat me.
Well, we'll see. We will see. It was also a very long game.
Yeah.
Not that I minded at all, but really we could play 2 games and at TotalCon, and that was it.
That's ultimately all we played. We didn't get to stay as late as we probably would have liked. I think we were having fun and would have liked to have played another game.
Yeah, I would have liked to have played another game.
But we wanted to look around the con and actually see things. Like there was, we didn't even see like the whole role-playing section where everybody was doing stuff like that. I don't know if they would have liked us to walk through that section, but I would have liked to have seen what they were doing.
Well, we were also set up right next to that section, though.
Yeah.
So you could sort of see from afar. There was definitely some intense staring at boards happening over there, and everyone was standing up. There was no sitting down over there. Everyone was standing up, and their board, are they called boards?
Oh, that was the tabletop miniatures area.
Oh.
They were doing like war games and stuff like that.
Oh.
It was in the front lobby of the hotel that was doing the role-playing games.
Oh, jeez.
That's what all those people were playing when we first walked in.
Oh, and like the couches and chairs? Yeah. Oh, well, never mind. Just strike everything I just said. That was something else entirely.
Yeah, that was the war game section. They do tabletop miniatures and, they have to move their armies around. They play Warhammer and all those kinds of games. But we did get to go see the little store that they had. That was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And you knocked over a game, and I caught it.
Man.
It was epic.
You got a handshake for that.
I did, actually, yes. I don't know who the gentleman was, but he shook my hand because I caught the game.
You leapt to catch it. It wasn't just like you happened to be there and you were able to catch it. You saw it falling. I did not see it falling. I had reached up to grab another game and in the process knocked one down from the very highest shelf, mind you. And Zach came from behind me and caught it very gallantly.
Full disclosure, I normally do not have reflexes like that. So
there was some applause. There's a parade. Next year they're putting up a statue for it.
No. I asked them not to do that.
Oh, do go on.
I impressed myself, though, because I didn't think I was going to catch it.
That was pretty good, and I was very glad to be saved at least a little bit of embarrassment, because if it had fallen on the floor,
and
that
money, because we would have had to buy it.
Yeah. What game was it?
I don't even remember at this point. It might have been...
I think it was one we already
it was
owned.
Small World. I think it was Small World.
Yeah, it was one we owned, so
Yeah.
we would have had 2 copies of it.
Well. And that would have gone everywhere if it had burst open.
Oh, I don't even want to think about it. My face is getting red just thinking about it.
But we looked around. I mean, it was very tightly compact area. I mean, the booths were right up against each other. It was like any convention experience if you've ever been to. Like, I've been to a lot of different conventions, years ago, and they just pack the booths right next to each other. There's no room to walk. Like when we went to Comic-Con last year, there was just no way to move. Mm-hmm. But so I would use that as your excuse, basically. That's why you knocked it over.
Thank you.
Luckily, nothing else fell over, though. And then we went to one booth that had these mystery bags. This was pretty cool. Probably my favorite part of the con. They just had these big brown bags, and I think it was $35 or whatever, but you were guaranteed, or maybe it was $25, but whatever. You were guaranteed like $45. $45 worth of board games. And we were going to just open the bags on the show and find out what was in them, on air.
But we're both 5 years old, and we cannot wait that long.
Could not wait. No. So we opened them that night, basically, when we got home. But it was pretty surprising what was in there. Not what I was expecting.
Not what I was expecting at all, because you could kind of feel the outside of the boxes. So I thought, oh, there's like one big game in here. There was. And then, there's like a little game in here. Maybe it's like a mini game or like a deck of cards or like an expansion pack to something.
Nope.
No.
It was a game by itself. It was a small game. The small game was Flowerfall by Carl Chuddick. He designed Glory to Rome and a couple other games that escape me at the moment. None of which I've ever played. I got to open Flowerfall and look at it. We haven't played either of these games yet. Flowerfall looks actually kind of interesting. It's a dexterity game where you have these paths on these cards and also some green areas on the cards with some different colored flowers on them. and you're trying to get your color flowers to be the dominant area within a path zone as you drop cards onto the table. So it's an area control game with flowers, basically, and it with a dexterity element. So it was kind of interesting to look at. I got to play around with it a little bit, but we haven't actually played the game. But bonus, there was actually another game in that bag, in the Flower Fall box.
Oh, there was?
Yes, there was. It was a 3-card game. I didn't know what it was at first, but I had heard of it before. I had to look it up online. It was called Win, Lose, Banana.
Win, Lose, Banana.
Yes, it's
Okay.
a 3-player game.
Okay.
And all you do is you deal out 3 cards. One person everybody looks at their cards. The person who gets the win card wins. And then they have to play against the 2 people who have the lose and the banana card and trying to figure out who has which card.
Oh.
And you just argue back and forth and pick a card. And if you get the banana, great. If you get the lose card, you lose.
So the winner, the one with the win card, will win if they choose the person with the banana,
Yes.
but they will lose if they choose the person with the word lose.
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
There's no rules for this game in the box, and I had to look it up online. I had heard about it on another podcast that actually did it once. And I didn't know how to get this game. I think you could just write it on paper, honestly. But it came with Flower Fall, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's actually... I didn't know that there was... that
No, I forgot to
there.
show it to you. I wanted to surprise you on air. So there was a surprise.
Look at that! I'm surprised. That actually sounds really funny.
But the other game, this one was really interesting title. It's called Oh My God, There's an Axe in My Head.
Yeah, that was surprising.
You got a little giddy when we opened the box.
Because it's just so funny.
It
Like,
was
why is
so
a board
weird.
game called that? And then you go to the back and it's about, so the plot line for this game, because there's a plot, there's a full-on plot, is that all the world's representatives from all the world's countries, the ambassadors, they're all meeting this, like, what's supposed to be this peaceful, uniting meeting, and they hired this juggling acrobat group and who turn out to go crazy in the middle of it all and start throwing axes at everyone to kill them. So, like, it's hilarious. It's so bizarre.
And you're actually trying to, the country that you're playing, you're trying to get through your political demands
Yes.
by strategically getting the other people in the way of the axes and killed.
Yes.
It's,
Yep.
This blew my mind when we read the box for this and went through the rule book a little bit.
It's very funny.
I wasn't super...
The premise is funny.
The premise was funny. I wasn't super impressed with the board game quality, but I definitely want to try it. So
Yeah. We will definitely have to try that one. And I agree that it was meh on the...
some of the axes and stuff, and
Yeah,
there was
the
a lot of
pieces
axes.
themselves
They
are-
were coming apart as I punched them out of the cardboard. So not the greatest quality, but you know what? For a mystery bag of games, it was still fun.
Yeah, and we got a good chuckle out of it. And we haven't even played anything yet.
If we
So-
go again next year, I want to get another mystery bag.
Yep.
And that one we will open on air.
No.
We won't. We'll open that night again, probably.
We'll open it in the car on the drive home.
We'll open it in the store. Like, we just got it, rip it straight open and see
Yeah.
what's inside. And then no, we won't buy another one. That we'll make that a tradition if we get to go to TotalCon every year.
We'll buy a mystery bag.
Yes.
That sounds like a great
I like that idea.
idea. Yeah.
It's a fun thing. So overall, what did you think of the con?
I thought it was good. I think it's probably tough for a first timer to go there. I think that's one of the biggest impressions I got as a first timer. I think you need to plan to be there for a longer period of time than we were there
Yes.
because we didn't really get to experience much. And honestly, I like just playing games with you. I know that kind of the point is to play with other people and interact and like socialize with people. But it was fun just to go and hang out and play a few games.
I think it was fun just to get away from our kids and play games.
Yeah.
In a private, in an accepting environment. So I would agree with that. I would have liked to have met more people there. The people that we did meet were very nice. The people who were running the con, the nice people who invited us to play Munchkin with them. We didn't have enough time. And the lesson learned, we need to make sure that we have more time at the con.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely a thing. Would you want to go for more than one day next year? maybe stay up there?
Well, maybe. Maybe we could do more than one day up
I
there.
think it would be fun.
Yeah, I think it would be nice to have a full day, so that might require going up earlier.
Yes.
Or staying the night before or something. That way you can just kind of get up and go right down to it. They also said, so it wasn't super packed when we were there in terms of people. And someone had commented that at night it would sort of explode with people. That it would be standing room only. So that's also something to keep in mind. If you're going to go to it and you want less people, we went in the midday to early evening time frame, and there weren't too many people around. But definitely, they did say that it would get a lot busier at night.
And if you do go, bring water and bring some snacks.
Yep.
Because I got a splitting headache while I was there, and which I was really glad that we got to leave at that time because it hurt so bad. And then we went to have a lovely dinner, which made it kind of feel a lot better.
Yeah. See, you're just hangry. Your head was hangry.
Oh man, it hurt so bad. But I would say bring water and bring some power bars or something, whatever snack food you like that are easy to carry in a backpack. I wish we had thought to do that because there wasn't a lot of choice for food in the actual convention, but they had a restaurant that you could go to, but I didn't see anything where we could get some food
other than the cupcakes.
Yeah,
which
would not have been a good choice for me in that case.
Right. Again, they looked and smelled delicious.
They did, yes.
But if you need something different than that, definitely plan ahead. Which I guess can probably be said of most cons, though.
Yeah. Is
to be prepared for what your bodily needs will be.
Like Scar says, be prepared.
Like Scar says.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to take a little break and go over the rules of our review game today, Organ Attack.
Woohoo! Best game ever!
Organ Attack is a take-that game for 2 to 6 players by the Awkward Yeti. The goal of Organ Attack is to remove all your opponent's organs before they remove yours. The game starts by dealing out an even amount of organ cards for the number of players involved. These are placed in front of you and represent the targets that your opponents are going after. Players are dealt a hand of 5 attack cards. Attack cards consist of different types: afflictions, cures, wild, instant, necrosis, tactical, and bureaucracy. If at any point an organ receives 2 affliction cards, it is considered harvested, and the player that owns the organ must discard it. Once a player loses all their organs, they are eliminated from the game. On your turn, you will play a card from your hand, then draw back up to 5 cards. Instant cards may be played out of turn, and once played, you will draw a new card. Resistance and cure cards are used to heal and protect your organs from your opponents, and bureaucracy cards are used to mess with the rules of the game. Organ Attack is a very light take-that game. Its charm is in the artwork and the comedy. Now, let's get back to the other friends and see what we all thought of Organ Attack.
And we're back talking about the Awkward Yeti game, Organ Attack. That was a Kickstarter game that Vanessa made me kickstart.
Yes, I did.
Asked me politely to
I'm
kickstart.
pretty sure it's the only game I've ever suggested.
It is. I'm going to chalk this up as your first Kickstarter game. Even though you used my account, this was your first Kickstarter game.
Yes, it was.
So, what did you think of the overall production of this game?
So can I first talk about Awkward Yeti?
Yes. I'm sorry. Explain what the Awkward Yeti is.
So the Awkward Yeti is a web series of comic strips, and it's by the man. His name is Nick Selick. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I discovered it through Facebook, where a friend or someone had liked one of the images, and it was hysterical to me. So I went to the page and I read through some more, and so I started following the Awkward Yeti. Go onto Facebook right now, follow the Awkward Yeti. You will not be disappointed. So the Awkward Yeti, there's sort of 2 main parts of the Awkward Yeti comics. There's the Awkward Yeti, the literal Awkward Yeti, who is a blue Yeti who finds himself in awkward situations. Very funny. Even better are Brain and Heart, who are, what do they call it? When they're an animated Brain and Heart. What do they call that?
Anthropomorphic.
Thank you.
Anthropomorphic.
That one. So it's a brain and a heart. And brain is very logical and practical and logistical. And heart is sort of fun and loving and caring. And sort of their adventures just going through everyday life, where brain is like, we have to pay our bills, and heart is like, but shopping makes me happy. So it's funny, it's adorable. And then there's also other bodily organs that sort of get expanded upon, and actually a lot of it's very medically accurate, which has been very interesting for me because I don't know that much about certain medical issues. There's a gallbladder who makes gallstones and then doesn't understand why no one wants them.
I think that's my favorite character.
I know, he's adorable, and he's, very soft looking and very childlike, and he says, I make it these for you. So that's very cute. There's Tongue, who's like major jerk because all he wants to do is eat, and he's super manipulative in getting you to eat all the delicious tasting things with no regard to like stomach, who then regrets it, or intestines, or colon, or whoever it is, so it's very funny and a very fun series. And so the game Organ Attack, the characters appear on all these cards, and again, it's sort of medically accurate, sort of, and it was so much fun to get to see these characters in the game. And I thought it was very well done too, because how would you do that, right? How would you get these organs to sort of interact and make a game out of it? I thought that was great.
It was, I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to. I mean, when you first asked me to back the Kickstarter, I had no idea what the Awkward Yeti was. I just clicked back because you asked me to, and I was excited that you wanted to buy a game. I'll be perfectly honest with you. But you showed me a bunch of the comics, and I looked up some myself, and they are very, very funny. I think my favorite one was during the Super Bowl, and I started showing it to people at work. It was the Awkward Yeti, and he was just, in his place of work, I guess, and someone walked up to him and started talking to him about sports, and he gave a reaction that I absolutely would, which was so generic, like, oh yes, I love the local team, and I love when they do that thing that they do, and the guy just totally bought it and walked away, and he's like, phew, good thing I faked that really well, like, that would have been awkward, like, which is exactly how I am with sports at work, because people never stop talking about them, and I have no idea what they're talking about most of the time, unless it's soccer. But it's a very dry humor to it, which I enjoy. But the game itself, I was shocked at how, the cards themselves, there's not a ton of variation in the artwork. The characters are on there, but just from the couple little word balloons, you get so much characterization out of them. I think my favorite one were the eyeballs.
Yeah.
There is one I think it was for conjunctivitis, actually, and it tells you exactly what every single disease is and problem. And it was one eyeball is, what was it, pink eye? Or
Conjunctivitis.
Conjunctivitis is pink eye, yes. One of the eyeballs, who was always using a barbell and working out.
And just to interject, it's because your eyeballs are strong. Like,
yes.
the characterization of these organs and body parts is so unbelievably appropriate. I don't think I can think of eyeballs now without thinking of lifting weights.
Yeah.
Because your eyeballs are strong.
So he's always lifting weights, and in every single version of the eyeball cards. And he looks over at the other one, who is completely red and, teared up and everything. And he goes, "You crying, bro?" And it was just so funny. We were laughing so hard at this. And it was just one line, but it was perfect.
Yeah.
So the humor definitely came out in it. And, the design of the actual game, I gotta rant and rave about the box. Like, it comes in a medical journal.
Oh my god.
Which was really
so
cool. Just, they did a really good production. It was definitely a Kickstarter game because it was overly produced for the type of game that it was, but it's completely welcome because it's a collector's item. You're a fan of these comics, and it came out as a collector's box, basically.
And it came also with an expansion to the game, which we just shuffled right on in there because it was great. And then also a deck of cards with illustrations from these guys and a sticker of those guys. I have some decide where I'm putting it. I can't wait. I'm so excited. It's your whole body, just organs all stacked on top of each other.
So the game itself, what did you think of the gameplay? It's a take that game basically. Everybody's got a couple of organs in front of them. You have a hand of cards that you can use to try to kill each other's organs basically, or take them, or reshuffle everybody's cards. There's all sorts of different cards in the game that you can do different things, which is kind of nice. And you usually just play one card, right?
Yes.
Yes, and then you draw a new card. Sometimes you can play more cards, but not often.
Mm-hmm.
But what did you think of that? Like,
so I think you're right with the take that. I think that's the funnest part is, you know, when your friends give you IBS, like there's just something special about that to me.
All right.
Yeah, it's very funny to read the cards themselves and to play with them. I also felt when we played it with a large group, I mean, everyone, you know, you get an equal number of organs and, you know, an equal number of cards, but it didn't feel like anyone was blasting off, taking off in the game and doing super well while everyone else was struggling.
No, because everybody
opposite.
attacked me in the game that we played.
Okay, all right. Well, when you come out strong out the gate, you basically put a target on your back, sir. So just something to keep in mind. But it was just, it felt, the play felt very fair and even, which is nice. And because if all your organs get harvested, you are out of the game. You sit out till the end, but no one sat out for an extremely long time.
No, I think myself and Rachel, we were only out for maybe 5 minutes.
Maria.
It's a very, was it Maria?
Yes.
I don't know. We were only out for, oh, that's right. Rachel won. In the end. She won in the end.
Yes.
We thought she was going to lose because she was down to one organ the entire game.
Yep.
But it was a very fast game. So even though there is player elimination, it wasn't very long time.
Right.
And it was still funny. Even after you're eliminated, you're still reading the cards that other people are playing. Like, how many times did someone try to give you IBS? I mean, it was it was really funny.
And then, I mean, so there aren't a lot of ways to protect yourself, which is probably good because it helps speed up the game.
Yeah, I wouldn't like it if
there was
dragged
too
out
many.
longer.
Yeah. But when you are able to protect yourself and someone comes at you and is like, lacerated spleen, not today, immunity boost. I don't know. It's just, it's very fun the way it all sorts of builds on each other.
It was extremely light game.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't enjoy it as much when we played it 2-player, but when we played it with a bigger group, it definitely shone with more people.
Yes.
I felt that. And
that is recommended.
Yeah. I liked that it's a light game in the vein of, I would say, like Apples to Apples or Cards Against Humanity, like a light party game style. But it was definitely more interesting than those kinds of games because it provoked, first of all, you get to learn all about these cool medical things, and it was very accurate as far as I can tell with, you know, its descriptions of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, you know, funny and witty. Like the artwork on it just made you laugh, and it wasn't anything, you know, grungy or anything like that. Like anybody could enjoy this.
Yes.
Like, you know, kids could read this and not have a problem with it because it's all accurate. And there was nothing, you know, adult about it. It was just anybody could play this. It was a good, you know, family style game for everyone.
Yes. It is, and it is very light. So that one card, I'm just thinking of that one card. It's a regular heartbeat, and you play it on heart.
Oh yes.
And there's Heart with a tie on his head, rocking out with some drums, saying, "I like metal and jazz fusion, man."
Oh yeah, it was check out my jazz metal fusion.
Yes, and it's just very clever ways to sort of describe these organs and the ailments that befall in them.
I like that the liver was a ninja.
But that's the spleen.
Oh, spleen.
Spleen is a ninja. Yes, because the spleen is a ninja in your body.
Yes.
It's that secret fighter to keep your body healthy, right?
Yeah.
That's what. Yes. Yeah, that's what. I just love it. I think it's great, and I would look forward to when our kids are old enough to play with us too, because I do think it can be very eye opening for people who don't know that much about bodies in an enemy and how the body works.
What was the other eyeball one where it says, don't touch me?
That was conjunctivitis.
That was conjunctivitis.
Yeah, the other ailment was something in your eye.
Yes.
And that's when he said crime brow.
You crying, bro?
Yeah.
I just love the eyeball cards.
I know, they were great. Oh yes, it's just funny and fun. I could just look through the cards. My favorite though is the love card.
Yes.
Because as an ailment, it can affect your stomach or your heart as an ailment. Or if you get it played on your brain, it removes your brain completely. And I just think that's so funny. And you played it on me the first time we played it, just the two of us.
Yes, I did.
And I was
And you were mad.
I was mad, and also just my mind was blown that this card was in there. The person who created this stuff, he's very smart, and clever, and funny. So yeah, it's a fun game. Definitely a fun game.
So would you recommend this? Who would you recommend this game to?
Who would I recommend? I agree that I think it's a good party game for 4 to 5. Can you play 5? I think you can play 5, maybe even 6. Oh, we played at 5.
We played at 5.
So you can definitely play at 5, maybe 6. So a small party. Following the Awkward Yeti, he has been posting things about the game, and he has shown pictures of medical students actually playing it for sort of warm-ups for their tests and finals, and
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so they use it, and maybe just for fun too, but also to kind of study with a little bit, which I think is great. I think that's hilarious and awesome. So definitely would appeal to anyone who's sort of scientifically or medically minded. Kids will probably especially older kids will definitely get a hoot out of it, especially if they like any anatomy stuff.
We should introduce this to my cousin.
To Jessica.
Yeah, she would love this.
She would love it. Actually, and I was just thinking of that. Like I know someone who's a resident medical student, so she would probably really like it too. Yeah, so there's definitely and then just we're not medically inclined at all. We don't have any major medical ailments, but
knock on wood.
Knock on wood. And same thing with our friends, but we all got a kick out of it. That was great. And I mentioned we don't have medical ailments because I have seen people responding to the comics that he does, to be like, thank you for recognizing my arrhythmia in this comic form. You made me laugh about something that affects my body, that really affects my daily life, or autoimmune disease. I think he did autoimmune diseases. And people were like, this is accurate, and also made me laugh again about something that negatively affects my life. So thank you for doing that. So I think it could also appeal to someone in that vein. But you would have to know them. They'd have to have the right sense of humor, probably.
Yeah, probably.
But yes, it's just a fun game for anyone, I think, really.
I would definitely recommend it as a light family or party game. If you're tired of those, more mainstream or even raunchier games, this one it's just a breath of fresh air. It really is a nice new experience for that style. For such a light game, we had a lot of fun with it. Mm-hmm. And the production value, it looks like a book. Like I'm a big fan of the story tale books from Yellow. Like the Three Little Pigs and stuff like that. We really like those. And that book style of box is just so cool. And this one, it's going to look cool on the shelf. And it has a sleeve on it, but it still looks cool if you just have the medical journal out. Because from the side, it looks like a real book. And I really like that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's an awesome production value.
All right. Anything else to say, sweetie?
Go follow the Awkward Yeti on Facebook.
Oh, maybe follow us too.
Oh, and us too.
Go to our new website, maybe. I don't know.
Go to the new website, which is
boardwithfriends.blogspot.com.
Do that. Follow Board with Friends on Facebook and the Awkward Yeti.
And the Awkward Yeti. Okay, fine. Yeah, the Awkward Yeti probably has a lot more followers than we do. A lot more followers. We're growing. Anyway, I think that's it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
That wraps up this episode of Board with Friends. If you have questions to ask, grievances to make, or comments to deliver, feel free to email us at boardwithfriends42@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at boardwithfriend. Like us on Facebook, or check out our website, boardwithfriends.blogspot.com. If you enjoyed this show, check out some other podcasts like The Say Report, the Local Multiplayer Podcast, or the Fanholes Podcast. Until next time, thanks for listening.